Hey traders, this is Christian from Hertz Tribeca Trade Group, and today is Thursday, November 12th. This is your end of day recap. So a little bit of volatility on the tape today. SPY finished down almost 1%. Let me just make sure I'm zoomed in here. I'm working from home today, so I'm juggling with a couple laptops today. Kind of nasty weather out in New York City today, so decided to stay home rather than go into my office down in downtown New York City. So SPY finished down. So I'm juggling around here. So if you see me kind of screw up the screen, it's because I'm juggling a few screens rather than a little bit more at my office. So SPY down 90 basis points. Qs outperformed, but they actually, from where they started, they were outperforming going into the open. They sold off almost 1% throughout the session to be down almost about 0.5%. And IWM sold off about the same throughout the session, finished down 1.5%. Look at what bonds did today. It was kind of like a true risk-off type day when you look at some of these things here in the top left of your screen. When you see bonds up that much, 1.7%, it's a big move. That's a big move. And it did kind of remind me a little bit of what we experienced back in, earlier in the year where, when COVID cases were really picking up, we saw bonds really kind of take off with that. The VIX was also higher as well. So it just felt like an overall risk off today as things kind of just got weaker throughout the trading session, especially around midday today. You could see not really anything rallied today. So like I said, all in all, kind of a risk-off day. Your underperformers were solar stocks that sold off the most through the session, also energy, retail, home builders, a little bit of everything. Oil and gas names were down 4% today. They had oil numbers came out and showed a build. So where do we start with kind of today's themes of the day? Well, sentiment really hot coming into today. It's something that, the way that I described it in the pre-market session is that sentiment is kind of one of those pieces of the market puzzle, right? You want to be kind of cognizant when you're trading because you're, always looking in terms of like a risk return probability, right? And when sentiment is super hot, that kind of the that relationship is not really skewed in your favor when you have that, right? If you're more of a trader who's not shorting so much, but more of an investor who's putting on longs and so forth. When sentiment is really hot, you kind of have to be a little bit careful of that. So that's what we saw today. That came out of the AAIA survey. I don't follow all these things all that closely. And then the way that I described it is, so sentiment is kind of a piece of the market puzzle, but there's probably little incremental things that you can smaller pieces of the puzzle that make up that sentiment piece, right? If that makes any sense at all, right? There's a lot of different things that you could look at. You could look at the fear and greed index. You look at the market sentiment model. You could look at the put call ratio. You could look at the VIX itself, right? So and a lot of these things that I'm mentioning and the advanced decline line go into like the fear and greed model and that market sentiment model. They just take like a number of components. I call them smaller pieces of the puzzle. But so there you have it. I think that's one of the themes is that, things have been really hot in terms of sentiment, right? I heard actually a couple of people talk about ETF fund flows. That's something that I tweet out every day, right? So you can track that. I'm one of the few people. I actually don't know anybody who puts that out every day, but I might have this in here too. If not, it's on my Twitter from this morning. But there's a lot of money, right, that's been put to work over the last. Sorry, let me finish my thought as I'm looking for this note. But you can go right onto my Twitter feed. Yeah, I think there's been $15 billion of U.S. equity inflows. That's way above normal for the week, right? So people have really kind of piled in 15, 1 5, by the way. So, that's a lot of money to be added in the short term, right? We know the market is heated. All right. So, bear that in mind, when you're taking risk. I try to kind of come into the day every day when we go over these things in the pre-market session at Tribeca Trade Group. I kind of go over some of these things to kind of gauge what level of risk I'm going to take, in terms of whether I'm adding swing trades or not. Right. So if I'm seeing that those things are a little bit unfavorable, then I day trade a little bit more. Now, today was also kind of interesting too because we saw a couple different Chinese names blast off this morning on earnings. This PDD, let's see where this finished for the day. Up 20%. So this was kind of a catalyst in this space, right? PDD up 20%. Let me just bring up the daily chart here. A huge move in this PDD, and then the other one was XPV, right, up 33%. I mean, this is a China electric vehicle company, so this kind of set this space on fire today. A lot of plays in this space, not just the Neo and the Li, but this group is super hot right now. It's just moving on pure momentum. They're buying weekly calls after weekly calls after weekly calls, and this is great to play while it's going on. But you have to ask yourself, you do have to follow risk parameters. I mean, look at this. Li was up 27% today, so I like to participate in this stuff, right? And I was kind of making a little bit of a joke earlier that, you just have to be mindful about how this stuff is eventually going to end, right? For now, it's got the momentum and the wind is at its back, and it's fun. It's definitely fun to have some exposure to this group, but just be mindful about how this stuff usually ends. I use the example of Tillery, right? And we've seen this a number of places, over the last couple years, right? Tillery, if you remember, went absolutely nuts, right? Went from $20 up to a high of 300 in the matter of, a month or two, right? And now look at it. So it hit a high of 300. Now where is it trading? At $7, right? So just keep in mind, have this stuff in the back of your mind, right? Because I remember when all this stuff was going on with the pot stocks, because Tillery wasn't the only one. Everybody was telling me, oh, this is the future. You don't know. This is because I was saying, okay, this is a momentum play while this was going on. And I wasn't playing this the last, that big move higher, it was all, obviously day traders, momentum players. But I also heard people get sucked into saying, oh, this is the wave of the future. This is it's pot stocks, right? Wait till all these states start approving it. And look at what it's done since. Oops, let me zoom out. Yeah, it's a $7 stock. It's a $7 stock. So just keep that in mind when you're playing these names. I don't mean to scare anybody or anything like that, or be Debbie Downer and tell people that they can't do it, or that it's not right playing momentum. You could definitely play momentum. Just know when the story changes, because it will change eventually. For now, they're super hot and they're moving higher. But the name of the game, of course, with this type of stuff is you could play it for day trades. If you're a long-term holder, you take some profits here and there. But I know people are going to tell me, oh, you don't know, this market is going to be huge. Look at all the people in China. I know, I get it. But I've heard this story on other similar areas of the market before. My point is, you still have to be disciplined, watch your position size, and make sure that you're trading responsibly with all these things going up. Because look, if you see what I played today, I played some of these names today. I played this solo. I've traded this one before, and I saw some calls, so I didn't hesitate. And this is another one up 28%. Is smaller price stock, but I'm out of this, right? It hit my upside target. Sorry, I can't get my mouse over to where it should be. But you know, I diagram this thing out earlier, and I said of course it went a little bit higher, but look where it closed. It closed beneath the VPOC, right? So the virgin point of control, right? And there it is, right? This is a virgin point of control because the price never went through this value area, right? There was another one down here. Notice how that came into play, right? Price took this thing out and reversed. So, yeah, I don't know very much about this company, and it's a day trade for me. So if you go to the trades channel down here, right? I didn't hesitate. I knew what was kind of going on, and that's nice. That's what we do at Tribeca Trade Group is we pick up on these trends that we're seeing for the day, and you can kind of tell some of these could have that what's called pin action, right? When one name does really well in an industry, it sometimes brings the rest of the other names up. So what did I do today? Right. So, we saw a lot of calls yesterday in JD.com. I actually sold some of this JD.com pre-market. I thought it was a gift, up $4 from where I bought it yesterday. I did play some Neo today. I didn't catch the absolute high. I was taking targets along the way. I had a trailing stop, and the trailing stop got hit. And then, of course, it just continued to go higher. But still, for me, like I don't need to catch the absolute high. If I can make some money on these momentum plays for the day, I'm happy, right? And overall, if you kind of go through some of the things that I did today, it was a very good trading day. I made one stupid trade at the end of the day. One we call that one trade too many. But I added some SE. I just took this SE off too, and earlier in the week, and I put it back on. They report in a few days on the 17th, so I'm happy to hold this one into earnings. Taiwan Semiconductor, I put that one on earlier in the week, took that off. I started a couple things. So let me go back to what I was saying about sentiment as you go through, and but yeah, JD. I mean, look at this, just from a 1 day trade. So the way sentiment is, sometimes I make the mistake of just adding a few too many positions. I wanted to try, some type of energy name, and we've seen a little bit of repeat call buying in DVN, Devon Energy, and it did break above the 200-day moving average, but I think it fell back. So I'm open to playing some, more contrarian type trades, but I kind of have to have in the back of my mind that this is not the best place to be adding, a lot of trades. And I did that yesterday. So I didn't want a repeat of that. I didn't want to add like 3 trades today. I don't mind adding a couple smaller trades like, this 4. I see these terminals all over the place. I was out to dinner last night, and I saw that everybody's starting to use these terminals now that they've been using them in Europe for a long time, where they just leave this little terminal at your table, and you can check out and you can add the tip and so forth. So I'm seeing them all over the place now. So I want to own a little bit of that for the long term. NVTA, this kind of fell apart today with the market, but again, that's why you take targets. It actually seems like it's got a green bar for the day. Not the best looking bar, but maybe this thing can continue to move to 51.31. Again, I'm pleased with hitting. If some trades are singles and doubles, there's still profits. There's nothing wrong with profits. All right. So the other thing that I wanted to mention, but you can see I traded a lot of stuff today, and then I just got rid of a couple positions today. Right. I just want to make sure that I'm in the right place in terms of risk in my trading account. Right? I can't emphasize that enough. Get to a place, like, the more I think the way that this market is moving, number one, it's very fast. Number two, it's changing directions in terms of what groups are going to participate, what groups are not going to participate. So it is moving really fast. I can move fast as well, provided that I don't have a lot of positions on. So the more nimble I can be, I think the better I'm going to, play this market. Right, so let's go to the So again, very important concept, right? We've had a nice swing up here, And we've been consolidating for the last few days. Now the good thing is, right? I even said this. Here's one of the comments that I made earlier in the day. I basically said, hey, it's getting a little bit too tight here, the price, right? I said, we're on a tightrope on the 1 hour, in terms of S&P, in terms of the price action. So, I said I took off a couple trades, right, and forced some exits in a couple things, right? Because again, I want to just err on the conservative side, and it looks like we actually held it. There was an MOC buy imbalance today, something that we don't see that often, but we did hold support here, but who knows? Like this could be, we could easily fall into value for the week. But hey, if we rally overnight, so be it. I still have some trades on, but I'd like to get into like my comfort area where if the market does spill for another day or so, I'm not going to get, too damaged in terms of P&L. And also keep in mind, like this month has been pretty great in terms of trading, right? So far it's November 12th today, and we're almost halfway through the month. So, being smart right here, right? I mean, we still have plenty of month. If you haven't had a great month, that's fine. You still have plenty of month to go. But for me, I've done pretty well so far this month, and have taken advantage of what the market has given me. So it's not as I thought some of these momentum plays like the EV group was a gift today. So take the gift, right? I always say this too, right? If they're going to give you money, put the money in your pocket, right? Don't take some money off the table. When you get kind of lucky with some of the trades and some of the overnight trades. Here's a good example too of not being super greedy, right? Restoration Hardware. Look at what Restoration Hardware did today. Right, so I had a call spread. It would have been nicer if the call spread expired this week, but it expired next week. But look at this thing, right? Again, I took advantage, and on this call spread that I put on yesterday. By the way, I took a target in this thing at the end of the day yesterday too. But let's see, where is this trade? Yeah. Yeah, so I put this, almost a double in this thing, and for holding for a day. So, that's fine. The most I can make for that spread was 12.50. So yeah, it's either hold and watch the thing go down, to try to get that last $4 or that last $3.50, or just take the money, right? That's such a fast move that they're giving you in one day, right, from putting on a trade. So just another concept too. Like I know some of you are more swing traders than day traders. That's how I am too. But if the market is not going to give you, like if you're just going to put on trades to put on trades, that's one thing. But right now, this market, the best trades that I've found, like over the last, basically this week, is to put on some trades, before the close or or in the afternoon, and then take them off in the beginning of the day. And they've been quick 1 to 2 day trades. For me, anyway. Some people are, I guess, unless you've been in Neo, and just continuing to kind of roll out and up. By the way, which is another technique. I think you just have to be patient. If you're looking to kind of hold trades a little bit longer, if you can manage to be nimble like this, you could take advantage of these moves. And you just kind of have to wait until the market, maybe cools down in terms of sentiment, maybe sells off a little bit, and then some other swing trade opportunities will be available to you. But yeah, so you have to trade trade the market that's in front of you, not what you want it to be. So I would love to be putting on more swing trades where I hold on for a week or 2 weeks, but I think it's just a little bit too dicey. And I've got a couple trades on like that too, right? I've got Apple on. I'm looking for a break out of value for Apple, and I'm in some January calls. It's actually holding up pretty decently. So, so I've got a couple of those trades on. All right. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Have a great night, and I'll see you tomorrow.